everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a new video tutorial featuring 3 cards that I made using products from our new library book window pop-up die set bundle. I'll be using the classic bookshelf, which is what I am layering up here. I cut it once from dark green cardstock, and now I'm adding 2 layers of heavyweight black behind it just to make it a little bit more substantial. This is going to be basically my card base, so I want this to be nice and heavy. I do display all of my cards at trade shows, so I take that extra bit of time to make them pretty sturdy just because they are handled a lot. And I cut all of the books from this bookshelf from one brown pattern paper. So you're going to see that these books are all a different shade of brown, and some of them have a really pretty like swirly pattern to them. And that's just because they all came from the same pattern paper. And that was really nice because I was able to make all of my books look slightly different because they're all a different shade of brown, but I didn't have to pull in, multiple shades of brown from individual cardstock pieces. And that made it also very quick for me to cut everything out. Then the only other color I added to this was gold mirror cardstock, which you're going to see are sort of my accent pieces, like the frames, the vases. Then there are a couple shades of green that I cut from the different greenery in the basket, on the vases, and then also down there by the pull-out drawers. On those drawers, I also cut the accent pieces from gold mirror. So this ends up looking almost like a dark academia inspired shelf. And I was kind of going for a masculine look here because I know that men also really like to read. And I just wanted to do something different. And I feel like this dark green has become a very popular paint color in a lot of people's libraries, and I think it's really pretty. I don't think I would ever do it to my bookshelf in real life, so I'm happy that I can experiment with it on my cards. So my goal with this video is to try to use as many products from that library window bundle as I could, just to show you that included in the window die set there is a wraparound brick piece that turns your library window into a pop-up, and you can also use that to turn your classic bookshelf, which is what I'm using here, into a pop-up, as well as the plant ladder that's also in the bundle into a pop-up. Now I already have a video up with the plant ladder. I filmed that in real time, so it's alive, and you guys can go ahead and watch that if you want to see what the plant ladder looks like turned into a pop-up. So today I just focused on the classic bookshelf as well as the library window. And I'm going to be using this classic bookshelf in 2 ways. So it's currently sized to be put onto an A7 card front, and you can also make it into a shaped card. But when you add the wraparound pop-up mechanism to this, it does turn it into, I believe, a 7x6 card. So I would either make a custom envelope for this pop-up or I would just hand deliver it. But by itself, the die would be an A7 card. And I will create an A7 pop-up for my second card, just to give you another idea, because this is probably my favorite die from the newest collection. I just love all the detail, and you can get so many different looks with it just by changing the colors. So these 2 shelves are from the library window. Again, I cut them from that dark green cardstock. I layered up, I think, just 1 layer of black behind it, and then I cut the shadow die from a dark gray, which I added behind those shelves. And again, I am paper piecing all of my books that I cut from that same brown pattern paper from my stash, so they match the ones that are on the large classic bookshelf, and everything is going to be matchy-matchy. I think this ended up looking really awesome, just like one of those vintage, like I said, dark academia libraries is what I was going for. And then I'm going to add to that green color by creating a green pattern paper couch. And you'll see that after I'm finished paper piecing these two shelves here. I love these shelves. They can be used on their own to set a scene. But I'm going to use these to sort of close in my pop-up. It's going to end up looking a little bit like a box, and these are going to go on the sides of the box. Again, I cut all the accent pieces from gold mirror and then a different shade of green for those drawers or the cabinets at the bottom. I think I also added a little bit of gray cardstock. Any kind of neutral would work well for this, but otherwise, all of those books come from that pattern paper. I am going to add some gold behind the cutouts on that classic bookshelf. And I know that this bookshelf looks like it has a ton of layers because it does. It is a really big die set, but it doesn't take long at all to cut everything and paper piece them because the elements are fairly big. And I did keep the books in their clusters that they were originally designed for. If you wanted to, you can cut every single book from each of those clusters and have a different colored book. But I feel like most people that have their own bookshelves or their own library are like me, and they like to keep everything color coded. So I just left that, and I think it still looks really cool. And now I am going to be paper piecing my couch that is going to go in front of my bookshelf. And this is from our new library sofa and chair die set. Again, this set is included in that library window bundle, and I still have them listed at 10% off just because I knew this weekend I was going to a show. I wasn't able to post my videos right away like I normally do. So I'm going to keep those bundles at 10% off until this Friday, which is going to be our inspiration hop on Instagram. And then starting Saturday morning, these bundles will be full priced. So if you're interested in this particular set of cards that I am making, I will have all the supplies that I used linked down below, including the bundle, because it is the best deal. And so the couch includes all the layering pieces for the pillows. You can see I cut the base of the couch from almost a wallpaper green pattern paper, again from my stash. I was kind of going for like a grandma's couch vibe. I chose green to match the shelves, and I think this is just honestly like a lot of people's dream library. I absolutely love how all the colors kind of came together. I was worried with all the different patterns that I was using, but this card ends up looking awesome. And again, can work well for masculine designs as well. So I'm just right now adding all of the different pieces for this sofa. Now, my grandma and I went on a live during Sneak Week, and I paper pieced the chair from this die set in real time. So I know I'm going pretty fast here. That's because I'm making 3 pop-up cards in this video. But if you'd like to see a slowed down version, I always encourage you guys to catch my live replays because they're all done in real time. And they're also really fun because you can join the lives, and I give away products typically or gift cards. If you haven't joined our Scrappy Tales Facebook fan group yet, that is where I post the calendar of when I will go live on YouTube. So I will have that group linked down below if you'd like to join it and catch me on all of my lives. So the couch also has a ton of little details on the pillows and also the feet of the couch, so that's what I am adding right here. The die set also includes a sleeping kitty and a sleeping corgi. So you can see I added a little gray kitty over to the right side of the couch amongst the pillows, and I think that's really cute. If you have our garden animals die set, I use those kitties from that set in my second card, and they work well with the couch too. Here I wanted to show you that I did create almost like a brown leather couch that I was debating on using. I designed that couch for my second card, didn't end up using it, but I thought, maybe I could use it here, and I thought it looked really nice because it matched the books. but I ended up sticking with that green pattern paper couch. I just really love all the different shades of green. And I felt that it matched the bookshelves a little bit better than the brown one did. But here I have 2 strips of that brick background that come in the library window pop-up die set. This piece is just one long strip with different shapes on it where you would glue your brick pieces on top of. In this case, I'm going to be gluing my bookshelves on top, so I didn't need the brick pieces, so I'm just using that long strip. You can see I added 1 strip to the right side of my classic bookshelf, and now I am adding another strip to the left side. And you can see I just added a little bit of glue to that 1/2-inch tab that's at the very end to wrap around the back side of my classic bookshelf. And now I'm going to join these 2 pieces together and overlap them, basically so that I can create a longer strip that is going to fit this size bookshelf. The current size of this is meant to go with the library window, but by extending it, by basically merging 2 pieces together, you can really customize this wraparound to fit any of your dies that you may already have. So you can see I just cut off a piece from one of the strips so that it could go all the way across, and then I used the other 1/2-inch glue tab to merge them together. So I think it was easier for you to watch what I was doing versus me explaining it. It's very simple. I've done the same thing to the trellis pop-up die to create smaller A2 cards, and then here's an instance where you can actually make larger size cards with that same strip. And that just allows me to then glue my couch and my smaller bookshelves to the side. So I'm adding my green couch right to the center, glued it right in front of the long piece on the front. And then you can see I'm sort of creating a box. So I have one of my shelves. I thought about adding it to the outside so that when you turn the card, you see a bookshelf in every direction, but I thought it would be cooler to have these on the inside. So I'm going to glue those to the inside left and right side of those walls. I did trim the bottom a little bit so that it was easier to add them inside. And here I did add a little bit too much glue at the top. You can see that I only needed to add glue where it overlaps that side piece, but I'll end up covering that later, so it doesn't matter right now. All right, and then this is how the card would fold flat. And again, this is, when it's folded flat, it's about 7 by 6, 6 by 7. I decided since I had an extra black bookshelf, I was going to add that to the opposite side just so that it looked a little bit cleaner. Again, I wanted to cover that extra bit of glue that was above the back side of this bookshelf also, so that was a way of hiding that. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side with my extra piece. If you wanted to go all out, you can create more of those dark green bookshelves and paper piece all the books again, but I didn't feel that it was necessary. I already spent so much time on this card and I got the effect that I was looking for with it. So that pretty much finishes the card. I absolutely love the color scheme, and I think this would be a great Christmas card as well if you went with a different colored couch, maybe with some Christmas decorations. You could also make it into a Halloween card by doing black shelves with like potion bottles in the background. But I love all of that beautiful detail on the couch and on the bookshelves. Definitely that classic bookshelf is my favorite die from the new collection. I had some of these leaves that I thought about adding, but decided not to. I am going to cover the background of that classic bookshelf. I thought for a while of just leaving it open because it does look really cool that way. But when I added a piece of black cardstock behind it, I really felt that everything just popped even more. So I think I add that, maybe not. I think I did that off camera. So if you want to see the finished photo of this, I will have that over on Instagram. And actually, here is a still photo of that completed card. So for my second design, I'm going to use, again, that classic bookshelf, and I'm actually going to copy the exact photo that's on the packaging. So I do illustrate all of my own products, and typically when I'm designing something, I have an exact idea in my head. And that initial idea is always what I turn into those finished photos that are on the packaging. They're there not only to help you paper piece all these different elements, because I think this die ends up having close to 30 different cuts that it will cut for you, but I also provide those pictures for general inspiration. So I personally do not mind if you copy or replicate the photos that are on my packaging. And honestly, like I said, it is my initial idea. So these are the photos that I come up with before I even start making my own cards. So typically when I get my products in, I want to create those initial designs that I had in my head. So that's why a lot of my cards look exactly like the photo that's on the back of the packaging, if that makes sense. But what I ended up doing with this design is I cut the base from white. Again, I layered it up a couple times to make it more sturdy. And then all of the accent pieces were cut from gold mirror. And then my books were cut from a bunch of different colors. And this is an example where, again, I kept those book clusters together where, you can see that they're stacks of books, but they're all the same color. If you really wanted to go all out and spend your time on this, you can cut out each individual book and have a different color. But at least for me, just like with crafting, I have a way of organizing my bookshelves and my crafts supplies. And for me, this is how I organize my bookshelf. Generally I keep the same colors together. I know some people like alphabetize their bookshelves by the author or by the name of the book, but I am a visual person and I pretty much categorize or organize anything in rainbow order. So for me, this is what my bookshelf would look like if I had this style shelf, which is absolutely stunning and honestly looks like the Queen's bookshelf. I actually have built-ins in my house that I put my books on, and I only in the past 10 or 11 months have gotten back into reading, and my shelves are already full of books. I live by a used bookstore, and I get a lot of my books there. And just like with crafting, collecting books and reading are two different hobbies. Same thing with collecting craft supplies and actually using them. So everything book related right now in my life is like my new obsession. That's why this collection has to be one of my favorites, because this was the first release that I really chose a theme that reflected my personal life. And because of that, it doesn't have one specific style. So these cards that I'm working on today are very classic, very Victorian inspired, because my goal was to create products that resembled a library or had that dark academia style. But I also love the style of cutesy and whimsical and fairy tale. So you're going to see in an upcoming video, I took these same products, changed up the colors, and really gave them a fantasy element. And then some of the book corners and the book mechanism products, those are definitely more retro styled and whimsical. So I tried to encompass so many different aesthetics that I am seeing everywhere when it comes to book themed home decor. There is so many different looks you can get with this theme. And I also knew that I had to turn this theme into a practical, craft collection that would work for holidays and occasions such as birthday, teacher appreciation, graduation. This theme also works very well for friendship designs. So I knew I had to add some practicality to this in order for people to make cards that make sense with this theme. So that's ultimately how I ended up with so many different styles, and I honestly just enjoy that aspect to it. And even though there are different looks with this, you can combine the products very easily together just by, coordinating the colored cardstock that you choose. So in this instance, I'm using the classic bookshelf with the library window, bookshelves, and I think for my last card, I pull in some older products, and it just works together beautifully, and I absolutely adore this collection. So let me know what you guys thought of the showcase video. I know I had to take a little bit of a break this weekend in order to go to the show, but I promise you guys more videos are coming. The next video I'm working on is going to be for that swinging arm book mechanism. And I am already seeing that you guys are loving this collection as much as I do. That swinging arm book bundle, that is 20% off, which is honestly probably the best kit that we have brought out this year because it has a pop-up die included in it. That kit is already halfway gone. So if you are interested in that particular bundle, I would grab it because we will not be restocking that kit. Everything will be available only for separate purchase. So it's an incredible value. And the video tutorial that goes with that kit will be posted on Friday. Again, it's going to coordinate with the Instagram inspiration hop also on Friday. So if you're interested to join that hop where the Scrappy Tales design team members have made incredible cards, and they're flat card designs. I know some of you are looking for flat card inspiration. That is where you're going to find it. And I will have all that information on my post on Friday. And of course, we'll be giving away gift cards for that hop. So yes. All right. So I went ahead, I added some more layers behind this classic bookshelf to make it more sturdy. And now I'm going to add a scrap piece of light gray behind all of these shelves. That's again just going to help the books stand out, and it's going to just close off the back side of this card. I do think it looks really cool with it open as well. But in this case, I did have to close it because I plan on adding a gift card pocket behind this piece. And I wanted to hide that. And if I didn't close it, you would have seen it through those openings. So you can see on the top right corner, I have more white bookshelves that I cut. And those are going to go behind the one that I just paper pieced. And it's going to wedge between this pocket where I plan to add a gift card. So this pocket die is from the A7 Pop-Up Purse die set. I cut 2 of these pockets from heavyweight cardstock. I'm adding double-sided tape to both of the 1/2-inch glue tabs on the left and the right side. And then on the bottom, I only added double-sided tape to the very bottom 1/2-inch tab. On the bottom tab, you can see that I am folding them in and then gluing them together. So both of those tabs are back to back, folded inwards. So now you should have a piece that looks like this, and then all you have to do is close the sides. You can see that I pushed in or pinched in that bottom tab so that it sort of has that M look to it. Then I'm going to remove the backer on the side pieces and just line up those 1/2-inch tabs together. You can see that they just wrap around each other. One of the pockets has the double-sided tape, one does not, but those 1/2-inch tabs are on both pockets and they both line up together. And then you can do the same thing on the left side. And you can also kind of push in that center portion to create that M shape if you want. So I'm going to remove the backer on the other side, take the other pocket and line up those tabs together. I'm giving that a nice press, and then you basically have your pocket fully done. You can put candy in here. I plan to put a Barnes & Noble gift card. And now I'm just taking those sides and I'm pinching them in so that center score line is slightly bent into that M shape. That's going to kind of seal those corners a little bit better. And then basically I'm just going to wedge each of these bookshelves between this pocket. I'm going to add double-sided tape to the square portion on one side of the pocket. And then glue this to the front of my classic bookshelf that is fully decorated. And then you can see to the right I have another bookshelf that I did not paper piece. You can definitely do that if you want both sides to look the same. But that's going to go on the other side of the pocket. And you can see I definitely glued that pocket in diagonally. It's not straight at all, but it really doesn't matter because you won't end up seeing this at all. All right, and then that finishes off my second card, and this card does fold flat. That pocket can flatten for mailing. You can see here it is still pretty thick. With any of our pop-ups, I do suggest mailing them in a bubble mailer just to be safe. The die set also includes the sentiment "You're a Classic." I cut the word dies from white cardstock. I layered them up a couple times to make them nice and substantial. And then the shadow die I cut from gold mirror. So I'm just going to layer everything together, and then that sentiment's going to go across the whole card. There is even the little apostrophe that I'm adding. I did not bother to layer that one up a bunch of times. I just went with one time for that one. But the "You're a Classic" sentiment works well with a lot of the different products from this release. I think it's super cute. This would also be nice on the back of the card if you wanted to dress that up a little bit. All right, and then I think I just missed that one vase at the top, so I added that. And then also the globe even has the land portion of the globe that I cut from green. And that finishes off my second card design. And here you can see I have embellishments. I have a Starbucks card, some chocolates. You can fit pretty much all of that in the pocket. So this would be an adorable little gift for a crafter. I love how this card turned out. So now we're going to work on the library window. So I have my packs of die cuts. You might have noticed this throughout the whole video. When I die cut all of these cards, you might have seen these cards already in my product showcase video. So what I do when I prepare for a collection is I die cut everything beforehand, put them into these little baggies, and then in one day I just assemble them all. So that's what I ended up doing here. So just like I did on the first card where I kind of kept with that green color scheme, this is going to be dark brown. So again, another dark academia inspired color scheme here, but it's a little bit brighter because I incorporated some craft, some tans, as well as some cream cardstock. Right now I'm just layering up my different pieces to add some weight to this card. I did die cut these smaller side shelves from brown shimmery cardstock. So they have a little bit of pretty shine to them. And then the shadows I cut from a pattern paper that's tan colored and has a little bit of a texture on it. It kind of resembles a brick pattern, even though, as you can see, the die cuts a brick design. This is the library window. Cut this from that same pattern paper, and you might notice that there's a little bit of texture on it. It almost looks like drywall. It's really pretty. Then I cut the window frame from craft. I think I'm going to layer this up a couple times. You can also add acetate behind this if you want it to look like a glass window. I think that was my intention with this, but I completely forgot. to wedge that acetate behind the window. Okay, and then I'm adding another dark brown shimmery frame on top of that. And again, I thought about doing what I did with the first card and have these on the sides so that it almost was like a box, but you'll see I'll do something different with these. I cut the strip from heavyweight craft cardstock as well as the tan paper. Because this paper is basically copy paper thin, I'm going to glue these on top of the craft, which I cut from heavyweight craft cardstock. But this way everything matches. And then behind the window, I'm going to add some cream cardstock, and that's kind of what brightens up the card. All right, and then I have another baggie of die cuts. These are all of my books that are going to be paper pieced onto these two shelves. These are the same shelves we used on the first card, and they are a part of that library window die set. So this card is only going to feature that pop-up die. I'm not going to include anything else other than the little kitties from the Garden Animals die set from a couple years ago. This one is just featuring that library window pop-up. I cut all of the books from different shades of brown and some cream, and then all of the accents from gold mirror cardstock. Again, I kept the books in their clusters. I didn't bother to do a different colored book for every single book on these shelves. That would just take so long. But because there is so much detail on the die, including little engraving lines on the books and on the pillars, it's just one of the most detailed pieces I ever brought out. And it truly is a stunning die. Again, this time I'm going for shades of brown because this is another library color scheme that I really enjoy. With this design, I was kind of going for like the brown leather libraries. Very classic. I took a lot of my inspiration from not only these three cards, but all the cards from my showcase video from Pinterest, because I really feel like decorating with books is a whole trend. It's an aesthetic, and we are seeing books everywhere, not just within card making, but home decor especially. And I really took the opportunity to build all of my dream libraries with this collection. So I wanted to have, of course, Maverick and Charlie on this card. So you can see I am constructing two Siamese cats by cutting the base from cream cardstock, and then I also cut another cat from dark brown, and you can see I'm cutting the ears, the tail, and the feet from the dark brown cat, and doing some surgery to turn this cream cat into a Siamese. I did the same thing to the sitting cat that is also included in the Garden Animals die set, but I only was able to add one Siamese to this design. But just know that Maverick was initially intended to be on this card. He just didn't end up fitting on it. I also was going to add that brown leather couch to this design, but it ended up being a little bit too big for what I wanted to do with this card. So I will probably off camera use the couch and the Siamese on its own card. So now I'm going to add the cream behind the window. And then I'm going to add my wraparound base piece, which I'm going to add double-sided tape to the back side of those 1/2-inch tabs on the left and right side. And then I'm going to attach one of these tabs behind the window on the left side, wrap it around over to the right side, and tape that down. And then you can see that is how the card will fold flat. And it will fit inside an A7 envelope. So the bundle also includes the plant ladder. So my idea for the entire bundle was to basically express yourself through different shelves. I know some people have books on their shelves and some people have plants. So that plant ladder is A2 size, and if you add the wraparound for that, you'll end up with an A2 pop-up card. Now I am grabbing the second base piece that's included in the library window pop-up. This one has that center piece with a couple score lines on the left and right side. You can see that I folded them to create an M shape. So it is mountain and then it's valley. So you're folding up and then folding down to create that M shape. And then you're going to go ahead and just glue this right to the center on top of the bridge or the wraparound. And then you can see that the left and right side, those are just loose, and those are going to fold in when the card is flat. On the top of those 1/2-inch tabs, that is where you're going to add your bookshelves. And I am gluing those tabs all the way to the right side of those shelves. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. I need to give it a nice press, make sure that that is nicely adhered. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, adding double-sided tape or glue right to the front of that tab and gluing it to the far left side of that shelf. That way, you can see when they're folded in together, they meet right in the center, side by side. And then when you open the card, you can pull them outwards to reveal what in this case will be our Siamese kitty. So if you bought our A7 pop-up trellis die set from our last collection, this is basically the exact same die, just as a library window, and it has that incorporated piece that allows you to basically open the side flaps a little bit more. It's going to add another level of dimension when the card is folded on top of your table, and it just has that extra interactive element. So I'm going to add a stack of books to the center of that opening, and then on top of the stack of books I'm going to glue my kitty. And what's cute is he has his paw up in the air, so it looks like he's trying to take down a book off the shelf, which is what most cats are notorious for doing. So I thought that was really cute. And again, when the card is folded flat, those two left and right shelves meet in the center, and then you can open it up to reveal your Siamese kitty. And then this card really showcases better when it is folded upright, when it is opened on display. It's kind of difficult to tell what this is while it's still kind of laying flat on a table. Here I'm trying to see if I can add my other kitty, but it just doesn't fit. And here you can see what the card looks like when it's folded upright, and it's just so cute. Here I'm going to add just a couple little accents. The library window includes a cluster of leaves. I thought it'd be cute to add some leaves to the left and right side, just to incorporate some more cream to the top of the card. And again, I do have this pop-up assembled in real time. I did do a sneak peek live using this die set. I created a gorgeous like periwinkle cornflower blue window scene. Again, I just went crazy with all the different color schemes for this collection. And so if you want to see how this window is assembled in real time, I encourage you to check out that live. But otherwise, this finishes off my third and final card. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet already. All right, bye guys.